Coach is Brian Hogan, manager, Woody Paraka.
All right, I guess we jump in and do this, eh? Just tell me when.
For the football team, number 1 is Charles Dawson, 2, Andy Leonard, 3, Ben Cummins, 4, Tyler Keller, 5, Jake Plum, 6, Josh Cummins, 7 is Isaac Walker, 8, Dion Arawana, 9, and captain is Ben Picker, 10, Jamie Boothman, 11, James Weir, 12, Jaden Eddy, and 13 is Joseph Cummins. Off the bench, 14, Adam Evans, 15, Dallas McDonald, 16, Kurt Selm, 17, Ben Evans, 18, Kane Davis, 19, Lester Croker, 20, Connors Hand, and 23 is Jack Dawson. Coach is Simon Smith, and the manager is Darnell Rolls. As we get very close to the kickoff, your referee is Garth Wilson, the touch judges, Jake McCook and Aidan Richardson.
Good afternoon and welcome to Jamison Oval in the Canberra district of Belconnen for this, the final game of rugby league in the Canberra Region Rugby League District 4 2019. It is the George Tooke Shield Grand Final. Chris Coleman is my name. Great to have your company this afternoon and great to return to Jamison. I think my very first commentary gig ever about, well, let's just say more than 30 years ago was at this ground. So it's great to be back here. I think it's the first time I've been back here for a calling gig since. But great to be here and great to see what is basically a rematch of last year's George Tooke Shield Grand Final between the North Canberra Bears and the Crookwell Green Devils. Last year, of course, it was the Crookwell side that ran out victorious 22 points to 16. That was played at Crookwell. This year, well, it's the Bears who've gone one better and earned hosting rights to this game. As you can see, the Bears making their way out to the Jamison Oval surrounds. Crookwell already out there. The North Canberra Bears indeed were the minor premiers. They only lost 2 games during the course of the season, 14-2. Crookwell, they've done it the hard way, and when I say the hard way, really the hard way. They got into the finals very late in the piece. They finished up 5th on the ladder. They got there on points difference over the Bynalong Brahmins, and then they've gone through knockout footy and playing away from home. They've knocked off the 4th place, the 3rd place, and the 2nd place teams. So they'll be hoping that that trend continues as they take on the minor premiers. The North Canberra Bears will look at some of that progress in just a moment. But there are some changes. If you had a look on the Canberra Region Rugby League website at the record for the game this weekend, there are some changes. And I can tell you that Anthony Jones, who was named in the 12 jersey for the North Canberra Bears, will not be playing. That brings Matthew Burnham into the side for the North Canberra Bears, into the starting lineup. And for Crookwell, a couple of changes as well. Charles McGeechan, their halfback, is not in. Ben Evans in 17 on the bench. William Cramp in 25 on the bench. Andy Leonard comes into the 2 jersey. And Isaac Walker, their halfback, in the 7 jersey. He was named to start on the wing in the 2. And as you can see, the game is already underway. 35 minutes each way. 7 players on the bench with unlimited interchange. It is fast, it is furious, and it is North Canberra who will get the first opportunity as they're looking to get to their captain, Chris Thorley, and he's the man you can see there just backing away now, so he didn't get involved in the play this time. They go across to the left now, and I reckon that's Thompson in there. Very well pinned back in their own half at the moment, this Bears side. And there goes Thorley with the kick. He may well be the key to this game today. 12 games across the course of the season, 16 tries in 12 games. If they can shut him down, then it will be a massive effort for the Crookwell Green Devils as they bring the ball out from their own end of the park now. And they go across to the left. You can see their captain, Ben Pickett, getting into dummy half now, getting himself set, and they continue. Actually, they come back to the right now. I think that's Isaac Walker. Don't get to see a lot of the George Tooke Shield during the course of the year, calling the Canberra Raiders Cup, and of course the Canberra Raiders games. It was actually James Weir who had the ball there and went for the kick downfield, and it's just outside the 20. Would have been close to a 40-20, in fact, from where it was kicked there. We don't have a great deal of elevation here to to call, so take a few minutes just to get used to who some of these players are. But I can tell you, yeah, Chris Thorley, definitely a danger man. And player we'll be watching off the bench for the North Canberra Bears is Tino Sione. He's only played a handful of games, 5 games for the Bears, but 7 tries out of those 5 games. You'll see him come on in the number 20 jersey. He's on the bench, and you won't miss him either. He's got the hair in the dreadlocks with the big long ponytail down his back, so you won't miss him later on today. For Crookwell, the standout weapon for them is probably Ben Cummins in the 3. 14 tries across 19 games during the course of the season. Otherwise, they're a side with a very potent backline that can score tries from all over the park and have done so through the course of the season. As the Bears take the ball almost up to the 40-metre line, getting up quickly in the tackle was Picker. Saw Boothman in there as well. He didn't actually have get involved in the tackle. Now it's Vickers, and Vickers taking the ball to about 7 short of the halfway line as he's brought to ground by James Weir. Big, tight defensive struggle at the moment. You might be able to hear in the background as we see Craig Pollock going for a run up over the halfway line now for the Bears. You might hear the Harden Hawkettes, who won the Ladies' League tag. Their celebration's just underway, and I've got a sneaky suspicion that those girls will be partying for quite some time. Thorley with the kick downfield, and the Crookwell Green Devils bring it back out, and they get out to the 30-metre line. So a good foundation for them on this set as they move it now up towards halfway. Picker comes into dummy half again. Had Joseph Cummins running for it, but they went on the outside instead. So still very much getting to know each other. Is that Aramoana in the headgear? It was. Now they come across to the right. 2 passes off the ruck, and it goes to Boothman, and Boothman gets them 5 metres into opposition territory. The kick will come from Isaac Walker, and he decides to go the aerial route. The ball hangs in the air. Not a great deal of breeze. Good take by Thorley. In fact, taking it fairly well unopposed in there. And now the Bears will start a set on their own 20-metre line. We've seen some real belters over the past few years in this George Tooke Shield for grand finals. This one's starting off at maybe just a slightly slower pace than we've seen in the past. We've already got the first of the changes that I've noticed as well. Adam Evans has come on now Troy Reardon rather has come on in the 14 for the Bears. Indeed, may well get involved shortly. And as I said, unlimited interchange in this game, so plenty of shuffling around as they come across to the left. They give it to Thorley. Reardon was waiting for it, but he didn't actually get to it. Ball comes down to Dawson. A few people not terribly happy with the intention of the tackle there. The referee saying it's okay. Referee for today, by the way, is Garth Widdowson. The touch judges, Jake McCook and Aidan Richardson. Now them throwing it around a little bit more here now, the Green Devils, and that's with Cummins, and he's 15 short of the halfway as he's wrapped up. Pickett dummy up. They're very compressed at the moment. They come to the right, and that's Boothman. Still in their own half, though, the Crookwell side. No score here, and we've been playing 5 minutes in this 2019 Bloomers Lawyers George Tooke Shield Grand Final. Isaac Walker sends the ball way down to the far side of the ground, and that'll be Matthew Page over there, I reckon, who's got hold of it and taking the ball up. And again, at the 20. So they're still looking for a set that's going to start further up the field. I don't think we've seen a dropped ball, a knock-on or a penalty yet, so mistake-free footy. High-quality stuff here in the early stages. They come to the left, continuing across. That was Vickers getting involved. I reckon that might be Reardon who's been tackled in there. That was Vickers again, not Reardon. There we go. So now they go back across to the right. Dunn gets it onto Thompson, and Thompson tackled just short of the halfway line. He can run on the halfway stripe is Thorley, and this time he tries something different. It swirls around. It's actually taken a wicket bounce as it lands. Bounces backwards, then goes into touch. Bradley Capello was charging up on the far side of the ground. Couldn't get there. So that'll be a handover, and it'll be Crookwell to bring it back in. Just short of 10 short of halfway. If required, by the way, extra time at the end of the game. We go 5 minutes each way. And if it's still tied up at the end of that 5 minutes, then play continues into golden point mode. There won't be a siren to stop play at that point. So actually a scrum being packed here. Must not have been the last tackle when Thorley went for the kick. Scrum unsurprisingly won by the side that feeds it. And the Devils, they bring it out now, still in their own half of the ground. Coming across to the right, and I reckon that be Keller, is it? It is Tyler Keller. He's got past one, he's got past two. He goes to ground to try and duck under the tackle. Tries to keep himself in the field of play. Does a good work there to do that as well. He's about 15 out. Now Leonard. They go to the left, and it goes with Ben Picker. Picker has a man on the outside of him and goes to Boothman, and Boothman brought down. They're inside the 10 now. Picker goes for a run. He's got options. He's choosing to go right across the park. Gives it to Walker. Walker pops the ball on the outside. Dawson, was it? Dawson gets it over to the far corner. Was it Plum who scored for them? And one of the Crookwell supporters helping me out there, it was indeed Jake Plum, who goes over for the first try and first blood to the Green Devils. Benny Cummins it is, there we go.
First try of the afternoon to Crookwell. On the free, Ben Cummins.
So Ben Cummins gets the try.
Crookwell 4, leading North Canberra 0 with a kick to come.
So Crookwell, they take the early lead here. As I said, in the lead up to this one, it's been all knockout footy for them. They held on to a spot in the top 5 on points differential. Elimination final, they went to Burrawa. They won that 48-12. Semi-final was in Harden. They won that 26-12. Preliminary final at Seaford Oval. They knocked off Bungendore 28-10. So they have done it all on the road in the finals. And now here they are at Jamison with Dion Aramoana set to take the conversion attempt. He's only got, half a metre in from touch. The breeze that there is actually going to push this ball further across the post. So he'll need to aim just inside the left upright, you'd imagine. See how he goes with it. Not bad, the touch judge has moved forward and he's aimed it too close to the left upright. It's off the woodwork and it remains 4-0 here in the 2019 Bloomers Lawyers George Tooke Shield Grand Final. Crookwell coming in with a points differential in the season, on the regular season, of 188. North Canberra 348 points more than their opponents. They scored as we get a knock on there. Isaac Walker comes in underneath it. Maybe overstepped it by half a metre. Gave himself just a little bit of a hard task. So North Canberra, having given up the first points, they haven't done that a lot this season. They'll look to strike back here with a scrum right on the 20-metre line. And at the moment, they've got nobody on this blind side of the scrum. They're all over on the far side of the ground, so get ready for them to spread it wide to the right. They've got an overlap because Crookwell are keeping Leonard on this side of the scrum. They go across to the right now. That's Holgate, goes a long ball, finds Thorley, and Thorley stops and props on the just outside the 20 and then is finally brought to ground. So they start to ring the changes. Two come on and two go off there. That'll be Bink. Numbers to the left if they can get it across the park. Holgate. Puts the ball back on the inside. Still got, I think, one extra on this side of the park at the moment. Page into dummy half. They go to the right. Holgate pops the ball across. They come deep. Thorley puts the kick through. Chasing after it is Trent Brown. Another man's gone in underneath it. I reckon that's Malcolm Timbery Thornton. It is. He's got in there and chased the kick through from Thorley. And the lead that Crookwell had, well, it didn't last terribly long, all of about 2 minutes, as the North Canberra Bears tied up with a try to number 4, Malcolm Timbery Thornton.
Try to North Canberra Bears to perform. Malcolm Timbery Thornton That ties the match up at 4-all with a kick to come for the Bears.
So mentioning the North Canberra Bears progress, as mentioned, they finished on top of the competition table. They won their semi-final convincingly here against Bungendore a couple of weeks back, 22 points to 4. Were never really challenged in that game. They were just a cut above. But that was a bit of a turnaround from just a couple of weeks earlier at this very ground when they'd lost to Bungendore, 28 points to 14. The only other loss for that North Canberra Bears side, I mentioned they'd only lost 2 games out of 16 across the season. Their only other loss was to Harden back in round 2 at Harden, 20 points to 18. Other than that, 14 wins, many of them big wins. And a lot of those points coming courtesy of this man who's about to take the conversion attempt here. Chris Thorley, as mentioned, he played 12 games, 16 tries in those 12 games. Throw in 36 goals as well. That's an awful lot of points. You can do the maths at 72 plus 64, 136. So effectively, about a third of their points have come from this man, Chris Thorley, as he looks to give his side a lead in the grand final. Kicking into the breeze. It'll push it slightly from right to left if it does blow, but the breeze stays away. And the lead goes to the North Canberra Bears, the home side, here in the George Tooke Shield Grand Final for 2019. Amazingly enough, Chris Thorley, despite his machine-like efforts during the regular season, he wasn't the leading point scorer in this George Tooke Shield Grand Final. George Tooke Shield competition, rather. That and I went to Zach Smith from the Bungendore Tigers. 170 points in total for him, 74 goals and 5 tries. So it's 6-4 here to the home side, and they get the ball back and bring it out from their own end of the park. About 25 out in the middle of the park, and Isaac Walker getting up, making good tackle there at halfback. They spin it across to the left now, Dunn. And he gives it to Reardon. Not Reardon, Burnham. Rather, Burnham plays it back now. Here comes Page. And Page is still in his own half. All had to bounce a couple of times. What we've seen with these George Tooke Grand Finals over the past couple of years is that they get faster and faster as the game goes on. And bench management, very much crucial for both teams. I talked before about Tino Sione. Well, he's about to make a run on for this North Canberra Bears side. Right now, let's focus on what happens here with Thorley taking the ball on his own 20. He's got time to straighten and run. That's dangerous in broken field play, and he gets almost through the line. But he's up to about 5 short of the halfway line. Could be a penalty in there. No referee allows it to go on as he gets up and then is dragged back to his feet. Good little run from Pollock. They're still in their own half. So this is good defence here from Crookwell. The ball comes to the left. Page takes it just over the halfway line. Now Thompson. Dummied for Capello, but held onto the ball instead. Now they come further left and Dunn has it. Dunn puts it onto the chest of Timbery Thornton, the try scorer. And they're up to the red zone. Last tackle, says Garth Widdowson, the referee. They go across to the right, couple of passes. Here come the kick from Thorley. Goes for the grubber again. Gets a little bit of a push and shove from Joseph Cummins after the kick. Picked up off the turf by Charles Dawson for Crookwell. And they pick him up and push him back. But back inside his own 10-metre line. Jake Plum bounces out of a tackle. There we go. If you were taking 16 minutes for the first call of get him onside, congratulations. It's just been made. They work the short side, the Crookwell Green Devils. Not doing them much good at the moment. This North Canberra Bears side up very quick as they get around through a little bit of a gap. But the ball goes away as Picker went for the quick pass on the outside. Teammate couldn't get it, loses control, and it goes out over the sideline. He's actually calling a penalty in there, is Garth Widdowson, so didn't see what he actually called the penalty for, but I'll take a guess that he heard the call of get him back on side. And that's what the penalty wound up being for. Great touch finder for the Crookwell side. And they'll start this set, 30 from home. The ball comes to Picker. Picker to Selms, and Selms just inside the 30. They come to the right through Cummins, Joseph Cummins. There's 3 Cummins playing today. Ben in 3, Joshua in 6. That was Joseph in 13. Now they go to the left. They've got numbers to the right. Accentuate that. Ball goes to ground. Picked up by Charles Dawson. Charles Dawson almost through the line. And here's Walker. Goes to his left to Picker. Picker turns it back around. I think it might be Cummins again. Joseph Cummins, last tackle. He's only a couple short. They decide to run it. Goes to Weir. Weir, he shakes off one. He shakes off a second. Dives over the line, and James Weir scores a try, his 7th for the season. And Crookwell's back in front. 8 points to 6 with a kick to come.
Crookwell, number 11, James Weir. But Crookwell back in front, 8 points to 6. And kick to come.
Last week in the Bloomers Lawyers Canberra Raiders Cup Grand Final, it was the Queanbeyan Blues over the Goulburn Workers Bulldogs. Went up fairly one-sided in the end with the Queanbeyan Blues, a flurry of points in the second half, but it was 14-10 at half-time, and I've got a sneaky suspicion this one will be certainly close in the first half. It's always the question, isn't it, this time of year, what's better, to have a week off or a couple of weeks off, or to play every week as the conversion attempt? That's not bad. That's not bad at all from Walker. He aims it at the right upright, and he gets the job done. And extends the lead for the Devils. 10 points to 6. They're up by 4. 15 and a half till the break here at Jamison. As I was saying, the North Canberra Bears, well, they only played one game in the last month. With the week off last week, they won 2 weeks ago. The week off in the first week of the finals. Meanwhile, Crookwell, they've played week in and week out. So that's the big question. Which one do you prefer? Boothman it was there, taking the ball to the 20. They're starting to make some inroads now, this Crookwell side. As we get into the bit of the grand final now, where the sides have had their initial bit of physicality. Now we might get to see a little bit more structured football. I think that was Boothman again. Now they come to the right through Weir. And Weir gets them just sort of the halfway line. The kick will come. Now that's taken a rebound off a North Canberra player. I'll wait and see whether that gets called played at. It doesn't. North Canberra will come up with the ball right on the halfway line. Not a bad day for football. I haven't actually checked the temperature, but I'd reckon it's probably 18 or 19 degrees, heading for a top of 21 here in Canberra today, so we wouldn't be far off that now. And not a cloud in the sky. They break away off the scrum here, the North Canberra side, and they're about 5 metres into Devils territory. Pass went a long way back to Bink. He hit it at speed, and he's made it about 18 metres now into opposition territory. They continue on the short side. There he is, Sione. Mentioned this man. Hasn't played a lot of footy, but he's scoring averaging more than a try a game. As does that man, Thorley. Now they continue to the left. Holgate onto Solomons, and Solomons, by contrast, hasn't scored a try this season. He's played 11 games and hasn't registered one. That was done. Now it's Sands. Sands in the 11. Last tackle. They're working on the short side. The ball goes to Burnham. They put the kick forward. It's been taken off the ground by Trent Brown. They're just waiting to get a confirmation here, but it looks like Brown's over in the corner. A referee comes over to have a chat to the touch judge. He checks on the other side. This will be a try. And it is. And we're all tied up at 10 points apiece. Courtesy of that Trent Brown 4-pointer. And now it'll come down to the boot of Chris Thorley as to whether we remain all square or whether the home side will retake the lead. 12 and a half left until the break. 2 tries apiece. Must be warm out there in the sun, going by the way that Chris Thorley's just popped the towel over his head for a moment. Now he gets himself set.
Try to bears number 2, Trent Brown. Close the match up at 10 all with a kick to come.
As I said, Thorley doesn't miss too many. And if he's off the ground for a rest, they've got Reardon who can take shots at goal as well. He's no slouch, so really you've got a plethora of options. Aims it to the right, it'll stay out to the right. And the game remains 10 points apiece. We're all locked up here with about 11 to go until half-time. Grand final day for 2019. So Crookwell so far have done a very good job of shutting down Chris Thorley in attack. The problem is that they've been able to readjust the focus. They've got Brown, who's scored plenty of tries this year. Bink on the other side. Timbury Thornton's already got a meat pie for this afternoon. And they've got Matthew Burnham in the forwards. Oh dear, that hasn't worked out well, has it? And you can't afford to give this North Canberra side real estate. What are they giving them there? 10, 20, 30, maybe 35 metres as the ball comes back into the middle of the park. Crookwell defensive line still up very, very quickly. They took care of Lachlan Holton in no uncertain terms there. And now that's Jacob Bink. I was talking about him before as a potential try-scoring threat as well. Holton again. Now they come left through Sands to Holgate to Dunn. And Dunn finds Burnham, and Burnham almost through, but he's brought down. Still 25 out. Now they go right with Dunn again. Back to Sands, and Sands changes direction, runs the angle back to the left, gets inside the red zone, but it's the last tackle, says the referee. They run it to Thornley. Thornley gives the ball to Burnham, and Burnham can't keep control of it and winds up in touch. Thorley, apologies, not Thornley. Thorley, no N in there. And that being the last, it'll be the ball coming back to Crookwell. Dawson plays it to Picker. I reckon that was Selms who was trying to bring it out. Now Davis, Kane Davis. He's lost the ball in there. And it's that man, I told you about him before. I rated him as an offensive weapon for this North Canberra side, but there he goes showing his defensive prowess, Tino Sione. So, you've got the Bears with a scrum feed. This will be 15 out directly in front of the post. The last scrum they had down this end of the park was 20 in from touch on this side, and they stacked the other side. They didn't worry about anyone on the short side this time. They've got 3 on this side, 3 on the other side. And Crookwell, I think, only had 5 in the scrum, so they drop the man back. Referee not happy with the feed. So they get another crack at it. Just Watch these runners on the left here. You've got Dunn. Well, he doesn't actually run. He gets the ball slowly off the ground, and they get it up to 15 out, just where the scrum was. They had Dorrington in there as well, and Trent Brown, but the first pass didn't go the right place. So the set piece, such as it was, didn't get terribly far. There'll be Solomon's in there who's been taken down. It was. Now they go across to the right. Floating pass to Holgate. Now to Thorley, and Thorley takes it up inside the 10. So they're spread out right across the park here. Had Sione on the outside. They elected not to use him. Holgate, still going Holgate. Still inside the 10. Trying to break out of the tackle. It's taken 2 men to bring him to ground. Kazag sends it to the right. Thorley can't control it. Hot Potato puts it down. Then knocked on by Crookwell. The ball will come back for a scrum to be fed by the Green Devils. And what have we got? 7.5 until the break here. 10 points apiece. You say there's a fair degree of rivalry between these two sides. You'd be right. One or other or both have featured in the grand finals, not just this year, but last year, the year before, and the year before that. So 2016, 17, 18 and 19. Tell you more about that in a moment, as it's Crookwell now bringing the ball out from their own end of the park off the back of the scrum, and that's the second tackle for them, and I reckon that was Weir again. Now they go across to the left. In was Davis. Well, he just got outside their own 20, so North Canberra, their defence line was tested a couple of times early, but they're showing a little bit more resolve and a little bit more structure now. And that's a hard hit. Is it? Let's wait and see if he gets to his feet. The trainer will come in. It's Joseph Cummins. Well, he's a little bit shaky, a little bit wobbly. They've actually stopped the clock here with 6:28 to go. He's okay. He'll certainly stay out there for another moment. Still well and truly in their own half, though. That was Selms. Now they come to the right, and the kick. There's Walker with the kick. Thorley gets underneath it, takes it as he goes to ground. Only 12 short of halfway. But broken field play as the Crookwell side struggling to get back outside. That's the second for them. Now a run from dummy half. And that's Kazag, and he takes them 10 metres into opposition territory. It's Dunn now. Dunn pops the ball back for Solomons. No, it's not Solomons. He was the next man in line. Dunn got taken with it before he could get the pass away. They go through Burnham. Burnham gives it to Holton, and Holton inside the 20. But again, last tackle. Seeing a lot of footy played down the end of the park. Chip kick over the top for Dunn. Takes a good bounce for Crookwell. Not such a good bounce for North Canberra. And the Green Devils, they get the ball back and they get it inside their own, inside the field of play. And now trying to go for a run from dummy half is Dawson. Charles Dawson. Geez, dangerous stuff to get the pass away. I'm not sure if he intended that or whether it was forced out. But either way, they still haven't. I'll tell you who else did some good work in there. It was Isaac Walker who picked the ball up and went on with it. Now that looks like Eddie. And he's lost the ball. Been stripped out in there. 3 in the tackle, says the referee. I think it was 3. Certainly more than 1. Now Isaac Walker, he has a massive boot on him. How far does he get? From not far in from touch and not far in from the try line. He's got it out to about the 25. They probably could have done a little bit better, but they go with what they've got, and that was Picker running sideways as he turned the ball around. Onto the running man in Weir. Now they go through the hands. Here's Aramoana, easiest man to identify out there on the field, largely because of his fluorescent green headgear. They come to the right. That might be Davis again. He was tackled very quickly after getting the ball. They're starting to struggle to make some distance here, this Crookwell side. They're still inside their own half. A little bit of a hop and a skip from Walker as he's unceremoniously put back on his backside, 5 metres short of the halfway line. They come to the right. And there's the kick. Kicker was taken down after he kicked it. It's bounced, though, for Charles Dawson, but I think he knocked it on in there. He's going to play on until the referee blows the whistle. May have already done so. I didn't hear the whistle, but he's certainly signalling a knock on. And North Canberra will get the ball back. They'll get a scrum feed on their 30-metre line. 3.5 until half-time here at Jamison. And it's all tied up. And the Bloomers Lawyers George Tooke Shield Grand Final for 2019. So as I mentioned before, these sides played each other in the Grand Final last year. It was Crookwell who won that 22-16. 2017, Crookwell lost to Harden in the Grand Final, 24-20. In 2016, North Canberra beat Harden 17-12. So it's been a mighty trio over the last few years. Harden not here today, North Canberra and Crookwell on these sides playing the decider. Final game of local rugby league for the year, for the second year running. Inside the last 3 minutes, and there's Sione, and Sione bursts through the line, bursts over halfway, still going in the tackle. Trying to bring him down was Ben Cummins. They finally stop him 5 metres into opposition territory. They come across to the left. There's Bink. He's a dangerous man. He makes another 10 metres. Holton off to the left. They ignore him. They go further to Thorley. Thorley puts a kick over for the corner. There was nobody back. Andy Leonard comes back, but Charles Dawson had covered coming across. But again, he's tackled just inside his own 10. Dorrington and Trent Brown were trying to steal the ball from him. They couldn't orchestrate it. And so it was the Devils who held on to it. Geez, Sands was physical in that tackle there on Andy Leonard. Now they're working to the left. Is that Eddie? It was. Gets the ball on the outside, and it's Ben Cummins. Cummins, well, I think he thought the touchline was too close. Gets the pass away, but I think it's gone over his head and into touch. Yeah, the spectators in their high-vis gear over on the other side. Very colourful. But indeed, the Devils losing the ball, and it'll be North Canberra who'll get one last crack to score here before half-time, you'd imagine. There's, about a minute 20 left on the clock. They'll feed the scrum on the 30. And they'll take their time here to make sure that they can run the clock out either way until the break. They'll feed it with about 60 seconds left. Danger man is Thorley, and there he goes. Long pass, has to juggle it a little bit. Now he pops it around to Peter Dunn. Dunn gives it to Dorrington, and Dorrington is wrapped up on the 30. 53 seconds to go. They go for a run from dummy half with Page, and Page pushes off one. Tackled on the 20. That's two. Dunn comes into dummy half, goes to his right. Gives it to Dorrington. Dorrington straightens. 12 out, straight in front of the posts. Page, Thorley, floaty pass to Bink. Bink to Sione, goes for the goose step, pushes his way, goes for the line, gets to the line, goes over the line. Does he get the ball down? Doesn't get over the line, just short. That'll be the fourth. They come back for Thorley. He runs it around onto the short side. He pops it all out the back. It's a try right over in the corner, right in the shadows of half-time. Well, points just before and just after the break. Absolutely critical in rugby league terms. And there you hear the siren. So it'll be either 14-10 or 16-10 to the Bears. And it was Kenny Brown, one of their bench players, who got the try. Hasn't scored a lot this year, Kenny Brown. By my reckoning, that'll be just his 6th try for the season. But they don't get much more critical than that to put your side up just before the break. And now there's no time pressure on Thorley here with the conversion, the siren having sounded. And I mentioned the Bloomers Lawyers Canberra Raiders Cup competition from last week. It was 14-10 at halftime in that one. This is not going to be an easy conversion. You have to take my word for it that Chris Thorley's got the ball on the tee. You can't see it there. It's behind the North Canberra huddle. He's only in centimetres from the touchline on the far side of the ground. There's absolutely no wind at the moment. It's completely dropped away. I did say, though, that this man is a point-scoring machine. He's been kicking goals from all over the place during the season as well. Comes in, looks pretty good, but just short. Just short. The line was, I think, okay. But with the unsuccessful conversion, it is the home side who have the lead here on Grand Final Day. And the Bloomers Lawyers, George Tooke Shield for 2019 in the Grand Final. It's the North Canberra Bears leading the Crookwell Green Devils 14 points to 10. So Trent Brown, Malcolm Timbery Thornton and Kenny Brown, the try scorers. Chris Thorley, 1 from 3 with the boot. For Crookwell, Ben Cummins and James Weir with the tries. Isaac Walker with 1 conversion. And Dion Aramawana unsuccessful with his conversion attempt. So yeah, last year, as we fill in a little bit of half time for you with some of the other details from the George Tooke Shield from past couple of years. Last year, yes, Crookwell winning 22-16. The year before, Harden 24-20 over Crookwell. That was a classic grand final, that one. North Canberra beating the Harden Hawks 17-12 in 2016. It's been great to see these two sides, though. They've both had some tough years, but they've returned to near the top of the heap. And while Brian Hogan, the coach of the North Canberra Bears, will probably be the happier of the two coaches, I don't think Simon Smith will be too disappointed with just a 4-point differential between these sides. At the halftime break, we have, 35 minutes of regulation time left in footy for the George Tooke Shield and indeed for the Canberra Region Rugby League for 2019. When we see the Premiership Cup hoisted at the end of this match in 35 minutes, or will we get a little bit of extra stuff? Will we get some some overtime and maybe some golden point? Well, stick around, you'll find out as we bring it all to you here on Bar TV. 35 minutes to go, and it's the Bears leading the Devils 14 points to 10 at Jamison.
So I give you the $100 before I start your season. You have to find one. You can't find one these days. Go to a toy shop.
Not just that, but also
catch up with you some stage.
as everyone was looking out.
And they can go out, they can actually see what they're playing for. It's there, in front of everyone. If you got really hate yourself with that, didn't you play for Canberra?
Yes.
The clip was, I'll have a point ready for you in a minute. A point ready for you in a minute.
I'm on call for my day job, so no. No alcohol at all.
You have to call it a pub.
I think virtually every one of these calls we've done from Pub to Pub this year has fallen on the weekend of the call. I think they do it deliberately, just to shit you. Well, at least this afternoon, because with the B2 games back to back, happy to take the phone to him while the two games are on. But yeah, still can't read. But yeah, so this is game number 56 for the year across the Raiders, the local league, the women's league, and the meet for the North AFL. It's game 46. If the Raiders play 4 finals, they'll do 50 games. That's a pretty decent win as well. Yes.
Yeah, we were watching different people while we were for the league.
Yeah, so again, that was back to back. So I finished that. As soon as that was done, straight down to the Canberra to the Raiders game.
Well, this year was
No, true. And then on Sunday did the 19s and in the first grade.
well, that's a big gap.
Oh yeah. Chewing the wood. Good crowd. And being an oval, there's a bit of space for them too, so.
Coming in there, it gives them a bit more atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's 14 points to 10. Right.
The problem they're going to have is that in about 10 minutes the heat's going to hit to them and you'll start to see a lot of drop ball.
That's the question. Crookwell will need to have points by then. It's going to start to take its toll on them after playing every week.
Then who can push through that and hold the line.
Alright. Enjoy.
So the headsets are now connected, so yeah, so no longer using the ambient light because I just turned that on during halftime.
Okay.
But it's pretty quiet anyway. So now that's on. Pretty much started on time.
Alright, so that's live now. So you get what I'm saying now, yeah? Crookwell starting to make their way out from the dressing sheds. North Canberra, the knock's been registered on the dressing room door. It opens behind us. And we have 35 minutes left in this one. The Bloomers Lawyers George Tooke Shield Grand Final for 2019. Earlier today it was Tuggeranong who got up in the under-19s game. The Harden Hawkettes got up in the Ladies League tag. So however this one finishes, we will wind up with 3 different sides taking home the bacon on Bloomers Lawyers George Tooke Shield Grand Final Day for 2019. Last man out is Matthew Burnham for the North Canberra Bears. Interesting to see him starting the second half on the bench. Who else have they gone for on the bench? Dorrington, Sione, Kuzag, Solomons, Holton and Sands. So a few of their starting players on the bench. For Crookwell, Ben Evans, James Weir, try scorer, is on the bench at the moment. Adam Evans, Dallas McDonald, Kurt Selms, Lester Croker, Thomas Hand also on the bench for them. But play underway and the kickoff goes to Charles Dawson and he takes it, pops it out the back door. And they probably do need to score first. I've been told during half-time it's very, very warm out there in the sun. We're calling from a shaded position here on the western side of the ground, so we're not feeling the warmth out here. And I reckon fatigue will be becoming a factor in about 10 or 15 minutes' time. So it's going to get very, very interesting, this one, if it is still close. Crookwell. He come to the left, and I reckon that was Joseph Cummins, and he's about 8 short of the halfway line. So they've only made about 40 metres on that first set of 6. And the kick comes from Walker down to the far corner. Thorley lets it bounce a couple of times. It sits up nicely for him, actually, and he's got a chance to straighten, and he does so straight into the line. Jack Dawson was the first man into the tackle. Still made a few extra metres after contact, did Thorley. Now they come to the right. There was Page in there. Can't tell you what was said in either of the sheds directly at half-time, but I can tell you as Bradley Capello takes it to just short of halfway for the North Canberra Bears that Brian Hogan certainly didn't do the big shouting stuff at half-time. So I suspect he's pretty happy with how things have gone in the first half, although this probably not the ideal start there for the North Canberra Bears. The kick from Thorley bounces on the try line and then doesn't get anything remotely resembling a bounce back. It keeps going over the head of the Crookwell defence and it winds up going dead. So they'll get the ball back on the 20. Moral victory to start the second half. But they do trail on the scoreboard. I reckon that was Boothman lifted up in the tackle there by his opposite number, Thompson. Was it Boothman? Or was it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. Oh, now they put the ball down. Oh, dear. Oh, Tyler Keller had a very good first half, and then that could be very, very, very nasty. North Canberra have gone for 4 men on this side. They go the short side. It was Dunn who popped off the back of the scrum, became an extra man for them, and Timbery Thornton took the ball inside the 30. Now across to the right. I think it was Pollock who got cleaned up there. They're still on the 30. They're still going to the right. That's Reardon. So Reardon takes the ball inside the 20 now. Here's Page at dummy half. Signals to his right. Gets the ball that way now. Through the hands and it goes to Bink. And Bink takes it up to the 10. They've got 3 men on the short side here. No overlap. They'll go the other way. And they do. It's a long ball. It goes to Dunn. Dunn finds Vickers. Vickers still pushing and still pushing and still going. 5 short of the line. Last tackle. Crookwell have held firm here, but they're working on the short side through Thorley. Thorley gets it onto a teammate there, and I think it might be a try over in the corner. Every try so far today scored in the extreme corners of the field. And this one is no exception. And it's Timbery Thornton getting his second for the day. And he gives his side an 8-point cushion. 18 points to 10. So There'll be another conversion attempt from the sideline for Chris Thorley. You reckon he'd love to buy one from directly in front. He's going to take this one from over on the stripe, 18-10. It'll make it 20-10 if he can get it. Crookwell, well, they really do need to score next here, otherwise the floodgates may just open up. Of course, a massive day in rugby league for Canberra, not just the George Tooke Shield Grand Final playing out here, but the Raiders into the NRL finals, and they're up against the Storm. That game kicking off in a couple of hours' time. So a big afternoon all round. Now Thorley's 1 from 3. They've all been from the sideline. The one he got was from the left touchline at the other end of the park, so that looks pretty good, but it just stays away to the left. And he's 1 from 4. So they've scored 4 tries, only been able to convert 1. And the Crookwell Green Devils have scored 2 tries. They've only converted 1, but the difference is 8 points. 29 minutes to go. 18-10 is the scoreline. Crookwell, well, I want to get the ball back. I can see Thomas Hand warming up for them on the sideline. The kickoff hangs in the air. It bounces once. It'll be a Crookwell ball. It is. Flying high in there. I reckon it might have been Plum who went up for it. In the middle of the pack it was. He got there. Now they give the ball to Eddie. And already they're 10 out. Picker at dummy half. Aramoana. Just working it straight up the middle at the moment. They've got numbers to the left. Penalty. I'll come back to the 10 and take the tap. Okay, quick conversation. They are going to come back to the left. They'll give it to Aramoana. He takes it inside the 10. Pushes his way upwards. Gets another couple of metres in there. Picker at dummy half. Long ball, goes to his right. Davis. Numbers to the left, but they go to the right again. Picker with a little bit of a run. Finds Walker. Ball comes around, goes to Charles Dawson. He's just short. They continue to work it on the far side of the ground. Walker. Got tackled around the shoulders, which probably stopped him from going over the stripe. Good tackle. Now they've got to come across the left. They do. Here's Aramoana. He's still going. He gets past 1, gets past the second. 2 metres out directly in front of the posts. Pick up. Ball is slapped out of his hands. Dived on by Dale Vickers and the Bears. They hold the Crookwell side out again. Hand over. And everything coming up red and black as they look to extract some revenge on the side that beat them in the grand final last year. That was Reardon. Referee's just stopping play for a moment. There's a man down. He's copped a blow to the throat. Doesn't look well at all. Touch judge is coming for a conversation with the referee there. Tiano Morano's coming to have a chat with the referee. Might be Kurt Selms, the man who's just trying to get to his feet. Really gazing through a forest of referees in their lime green outfits before. It wasn't Selms, it was actually Kane Davis. But he's up. In fact, he's even coming up to going to be the second marker, so he must be okay. Play will restart, 25 and a half to go. I think it was Page who got the ball out that time, and Holly Pollock this time. Only 25 out from their own line. Make it 20 short of halfway. Ball comes to Thorley. He kicks from the 30, but there's a whistle. There's a little bobble in there, was there? Must have been. Little bobble, so Crookwell, they'll get the ball on the 30. And here we go. It was suggested to me before, oh, we've got a player coming off injured round the back. That is definitely a big bump that he's taken to the forehead there. It's come up very quickly and like an egg. So that'll be another man down, the North Canberra Bears, as Hamza Cusack comes on. And Peter Dunn, well, that may well cause them some problems because Dunn's been doing a great job driving the traffic around the park for the North Canberra Bears, and now Cusack will take on some of that role. But the ball's back in play, and that was Ben Cummins who had it. He's at the 30. They go to the right. I think it was James Weir they gave the task to there. Aramawana dangerous, and he's 2 off the ruck to the left. And they give it to that man now. They had him covered, did North Canberra. Quick play the ball. Picker goes for a run. Puts it on the outside. Once again, it's with Weir. Now they're at the 10. Going for a run from dummy half. I reckon that might have been Picker again. Now they come across. Back to the left. The kick. Across field. Waiting underneath it. Plum. Cummins. But flying is the defence on the North Canberra side. Have it covered. They have it covered in the in-goal area, so they'll bring the ball back out to the 20 for the restart, and they look for the quick restart. Referee says, no, you've got to wait just a moment. Let's get the Crookwell side back on side. So Matthew Page retreats, takes the little tap instead. And now they're underway, courtesy of Thompson. Over on the cricket pitch area in the middle of Jamison. I reckon there might be Vickers who's in there. Just been flattened. It was. And they come to the right via Holgate, and Holgate onto Bink. Bink slammed to the turf. Still inside their own 40. This Bears outfit. And the kick is out on the full. So, North Canberra, they've got an 8-point advantage, but they're giving Crookwell every opportunity to cut that down. At the moment, the defence has been pretty good from North Canberra. But let's see what happens as they give the ball to Eddie. Has to reach up and grab it with his right arm. Did well to do that. I don't think he even broke stride. And he gets to 25 out from the line. Picker at dummy half. Goes to his right. Gives it to Adam Evans. And now they're inside the 20. Numbers to the left. They go to the right instead with Picker hanging on to it and going for a run. And I reckon that might have been Weir. He gave it to. He's lost the ball in there. Apologies if it wasn't Weir. It wasn't. It was Boothman who lost the pill in there, I think. Either way, it'll be a scrum feed and North Canberra to feed it. I'll tell you, this game, it's been very hard fought. And it is still a close one, but it's been fairly stop-start through the last 20 minutes or so of play. Compare that to the first, I think it was 10 or 12 minutes before we saw a scrum or a knock-on or a penalty. Certainly it has slowed up. Now that'd be Capello taking the ball to the 20 for the Bears. Still plenty of time left in this one. They continue to work it up the short side. Picked up and unceremoniously dumped in there was Pollock. Lands flat on his back on the ground. Now Capello had Sands on the outside. Couldn't get the pass away. They're 20 short of halfway. Thorley puts a little kick over to his own advantage. It sits up. Oh, horribly for him. He's managed to get hold of it. I don't know how he did that, but it's been called a forward pass to Holton, who was off to the races. And the North Canberra fans to my right not happy about that call. I almost feel like I'm in the Korean demilitarised zone here. I've quite literally got North Canberra supporters off to my right, Crookwell supporters off to my left, and there's a bit of rope for the players' race. And that's where we're calling from, between those two bits of rope. We are quite literally in no man's land here at Jamison for this one this afternoon. Well, how many more chances do Crookwell get as Tyler Keller takes the ball? And they're 10 metres into North Canberra territory. Picker pops the ball outside. I reckon that is weird that time. It was. Now here's Boothman. And Boothman takes it inside the 30, but head rocks back in the tackle as he's stopped in his tracks. They've got Aramoana. They give it to him. He runs across to his right. He gets through past the first one. He's 15 from the line. Now Picker again. Looks to his left. He misses a couple. Ball goes through hands. Knocked on by Eddie for mine in there. Referee agrees. And again, Crookwell given a chance, but they don't make effective use of it. Just as they're getting to the pointy end of a movement, it all goes wrong for them again. So North Canberra will get the ball back from another scrum, and again it'll be on their own 10-metre line. 16 minutes gone in the second half, 19 remaining. The only score since the break, a try to Malcolm Timbury Thornton, giving us the 8-point difference this afternoon. As they bring the ball out from their own end, they give it to Thorley, and Thorley looks up, spots a half gap, but that gap closed around him fairly quickly. That was Sands. Now who's there? They come back. They go to Holgate. Holgate, I reckon that might have been Vickers he got it onto. No, it wasn't. It was actually Bink. Now the kick's been charged down here. Has it been called played at? It hasn't been called played at. Let's wait and see the signal from referee Garth Widowson here. He's going to call for a scrum. And the scrum feed is going to Crookwell. Yet another chance to score. This would be what their fifth chance in this second half. They're yet to breach the line. In fact, they've hardly got within the 10. They go to the right. And that's Walker. He decides not to pass. He takes it to 15 from the line. Picker. He goes to his right. Now there's a chance here with a fast play of the ball. Picker goes on the outside. Ben Cummins, I think it is, way over in that far corner of the field. He's pushed to the ground, very slowly getting to his feet. In fact, he's on his hands and knees. In the hands of a trainer now. Was the other centre, it was Tyler Keller. So they go to the left. Little run around, and it's with Boothman. They're 5 from the line. I think that's the 4th. Who do they give it to? Juggling the ball there was Hand. This is the last. Picker goes to his right to Walker. Walker puts the pass away. He's bumped as he hit it. Now, here's the question. Who wins? The man carrying the ball or the man chasing? Well, I reckon that's Trent Brown. And it's an intercept try to the North Canberra Bears, and it is the full length of the field. It was indeed Trent Brown covering the length of the field, and he puts them out to a 12-point break. And you reckon Chris Thorley will enjoy this conversion from right under the dot. So he's got his second. Malcolm Timbury Thornton's got 2. Kenny Brown will look to join the club later on. But 22 points to 10. Kick to come, 15 minutes remaining. And Crookwell. Oh, gee, they've just done themselves no favour. They've had 4 or 5 opportunities down at their far end of the park where they've been given the ball in good field position. The Bears have held on to it and held them out in defence. And I can tell you the Bears, they're not done. They've got a couple of players who are about to make their way back onto the field. Sione's one of them. Very, very dangerous. And it's going to be very, very difficult to stop late in this game. They've got Dorrington getting set to come back on as well. Hard tackler is that man. And Pollock's having a rest as well. I'd be surprised if we didn't see him again before full time. In fact, he looks like he might be about to come back on as well. So it's like the Crookwell side, they've got a joke book. The back half's been torn off, so they've got all the jokes. They don't have the punchlines. They don't have the answers to the questions. And North Canberra, they've got the complete set of Funk and Wagnalls. 10 metres out, about 5 to the left of the uprights, I reckon. So fairly easy as Thorley comes in with the right boot. Converts that one. He's got 2 for the day, 24 points to 10. So they now have a 3-try advantage. Crookwell will need to score 3 times here, and they only have 14 minutes to do that. And they've only scored 2 tries, and both of those were in the first half. So the pressure very much on the visiting side. I just wonder whether North Canberra are about to open this one up. They've gone for the short kickoff, and it's been put down by Holgate. And he's lost it forward. So Crookwell, they'll need to score off this set. They really will. Scoring 3 tries in a row is difficult at the best of times. To do it in less than 10 minutes is considerably harder. So if they can get the first one here, they'll suddenly feel perhaps that they've got a little bit of momentum, but I just wonder whether they're starting to tire a little bit. It's a very warm day out in the sun, and they have been playing a lot of football. They are up against a very well-rested North Canberra side. Ben Cummins did well to hang on to that, picked it up off his bootlaces, and he's done even better to make another couple of metres as he's gone a long way sideways. They're inside the 20. They continue to the right, and I reckon that was Weir again. Takes it to the 10 on the second. That was Selms. They've got numbers to the left. And it's a long ball. Oh, boy, they've given it to the power man in Aramoana. And he's gone to the line and he's used his brute strength to get it over. Well, I was looking for the long ball to the left. I think North Canberra were looking for the long ball to the left. But Dion Aramoana, he's a very strong man. And he goes to show that there's still life in this one. He scores his first for the day. 24-14. Kick to come for the trailing Crookwell Green Devils. 12 minutes remaining. And Aramoana will convert his own try from directly in front. Well, actually, it'll be a metre to the left, but near enough to directly in front. He won't want to take too much time here. They've got one. They need two more. I suppose they convert this. The old 8-point try comes into play, doesn't it? It's been a game that's been played in pretty good spirit. There's been no silly behaviour going on. So the odds of an 8-point try, barring a brain explosion, are pretty remote. I mean, they're remote at the best of times anyway. Aramoana with the conversion. Easy as you like. 24 points to 16 in favour of the North Canberra Bears over the Crookwell Green Devils. Now, I can't imagine Thorley's going to go for the short kick-off here. Play it down the other end of the park. That'd be my thoughts. And they're Thorley's thoughts as well as he sends the ball into the in-goal area where it was taken by Walker. And now it'll be Crookwell having to try and find a way through or around. A couple of dummy runners before the ball goes to hand. Sends one over to the far side of the ground. I reckon it might have been Andy Leonard who caught it in there. He was set upon very quickly after he got the ball. Well, they're starting to make some metres. Very physical tackle. There's North Canberra side still got plenty in the tank. Just keeping an eye on the scoreboard because we are now, we're 3 seconds away from the last 10 minutes. Crookwell, last tackle, just short of the halfway line. Man in the way in the play of the ball. The ball goes back to Charles Dawson, and Dawson has to hurry his kick somewhat. It's wobbly old kick. It bounces horribly for Kenny Brown. It bounces back to Charles Dawson. He puts a second kick in across the field. It goes to Ben Cummins. I think Cummins was offside. He was in front of the kicker. So North Canberra will get the ball back, but 9.5 to go. They get the penalty. Really didn't have too many other options there, Dawson. He was wrapped up in the tackle. As Thorley sends the ball to the sideline, and play will restart exactly on the halfway stripe. One more try, you'd reckon it'd seal it for the North Canberra Bears. They're looking for it now. That was Holgate. Capello at dummy half. They go left. Sione, dummies. And then takes the Crookwell line with him for another 5 metres. That's the 20 just in front of him. They go right with Thompson. And inside the 20. Holgate to dummy half. Calling for it. On this side was Dorrington, but the little kick came. I think it was Burnham who had the kick. And it's been fielded by Crookwell, so they'll bring it back out from their own 10-metre line. Was that McDonald? Was. Well, they might just need a long-range effort here. They're certainly running at speed at the line at the moment, this Crookwell side. That's the third. They're at the 30. Eddie was charging on this side. They've gone the other way to Walker. And now he's lost the ball. And he was into and out of the tackle. The change of direction didn't help him too much. And with 7:45 to go, North Canberra can just about put this one on ice. There's a trainer out the back there. He was signalling something. I'm not sure what he was signalling. I think he's just been told to get off the field. All right. I'll feed the scrum, the North Canberra Bears. 10 metres into Crookwell territory. What have they got? Is it party trick time yet? Well, goes to Dorrington, and Dorrington just charges through the line. Running from dummy half was Holgate. Now Thorley comes in for the play the ball, picks it up. Goes to his left, finds Sione, and Sione gets the pop away. 5 metres short. They're spread out right across the park. Slow play the ball from Timbery Thornton, and then it goes to Thorley. Penalty to the North Canberra Bears. Now this will be interesting because really they're up by 10. Oh no, they're up by 8. The difference between an 8-point lead and a 10-point lead is not that massive, except that they can discuss it and take some time off the clock, and then take some more time off the clock to take the shot at goal. They elect not to. They go for the tap. It was Thorley who had the tap, and as you can see, he's only a couple of metres short of the line. 6 minutes to go. They go to the right with Pollock. Pollock trying to find his way through the line. There were 4 in the tackle. It went down to 2 and then went back up to 4 as another 2 players joined in. Ball comes a long way back. Little drop out the back door for Capello, and Capello looks to get over, but he's well short, about 5 metres short of the line, directly in front of the posts. Thompson has it, can get the offload away. If he tries, he might not have to, or if he'd fallen the other direction, he might have gone close to a try himself. Now they go to the left. Here's Thorley. Thorley, grubber kick, bounces off a Crookwell player, taken by Weir. I think the referees ruled that a knock on. I couldn't spot the ref in there for the signal. And if he's ruled that a knock on by Crookwell, then I reckon we can just about put the cue in the rack here. 24-16, so 8 points the difference. We're into the last 5 minutes. Very hard to see the referee when he's on the other side of the scrum. But it'll be Sione feeding the scrum. So North Canberra here, if they can complete this set, you'd reckon they're pretty well safe, and the celebrations may well begin a couple of minutes before full time. But right now they've got a job to do, and that's to put this one on ice. Cusack sends the ball to Bink. Bink looks for the corner, gets to the corner, still in the field of play. Now he's in the in goal, standing, held up. I'll bring the ball back to the 10. There's a man down for North Canberra on the 10-metre line. Might be Cusack. He was face down on the turf. It is. Pretty nasty cramp in the calf by the looks of it. It is a warm day. 4 minutes 21, the clock has stopped. That's the second tackle. It would require a length of the field effort from Crookwell, and then something special off the restart for them to get back into this one. Cusack struggling to get to his feet. May not be a cramp. Oh, they're not mucking around. They're getting him off the field. So Hamza Cusack will finish this game on the sideline. Well, no, the way they're treating him, it certainly looks like a cramp. Maybe they've just been told, well, it's unlimited interchange. Take him off, get someone else on. So they've done that. Now going for a run is Holgate. That's the third, and he's still pushing towards the line. He gets picked up by Dawson and put to ground. They work it on the short side, giving the ball to Capello. He's been good today for the North Canberra Bears. He's just short of the line. Long ball to the left. It's taken by Holgate. He goes to Sione. Sione, he just pushes off one, pushes off a second. He's outside the 10, but he's still going. He's taking 3 of the Crookwell side with him. I reckon you could probably put them all on his back, and he'd carry the lot of them. 3.5 remaining. This is the last tackle. If they can get a repeat set here, it'll be good night, Nurse. I reckon it was just short. Ball's come out the back here. Call of held had already been made, though. So despite the best efforts of Capello, who pounced on the loose ball, it will be a handover. And here comes the last chance for Crookwell. They've got 3.5 minutes. They've got to score and score again, so they need to score off this possession. And I can tell you, they won't do it by going one off the ruck. They're going to have to throw it around a little bit, because North Canberra are certainly compressing up and covering the middle. Crookwell Just continuing to go straight up the middle of the park. That was Selms, slow to his feet. Inside the last three. Now it's with Eddie. And that's only the 30, so they really are struggling to get out from their own end of the park. It's been the story for much of the day. Hand goes to his right. That's Picker. Picker to Walker. Walker still on his feet. Appropriately enough. 10 short of the halfway line. Picker gives it to Hand. Hand with the little chip kick over the top. It bounces once. It turns to the right. Trent Brown had it covered. Allowed it to go into touch because that will also help to melt the clock down. We'll be well inside the last 2 minutes by the time this scrum gets packed. So really, we start to go through the motions here of the last 2 minutes of Canberra Region Rugby League for 2019. And now we get time blown off with 1:48 remaining. So while we wait, the scorers so far today for the North Canberra Bears, their 24 points have come from 2 tries to Trent Brown, 2 tries to Malcolm Timbury Thornton, a try to Kenny Brown, and 2 from 5 with the boot to Chris Thorley. They're not done yet. They'd like to get one more. That was Vickers, I think, just short of the halfway line. Now they give it to Solomons. And they're once again 10 metres over the halfway line. That's the second. Page at dummy half. Gives it to Capello. Capello makes another couple. He's 12 into opposition territory. They continue to the left. Ball goes back to Dunn. So Dunn's got himself back on there. He's got the big bandage around his head where they may well have popped the egg that was on his forehead before. That was Sione taking the ball to the 30. Comes back to Dunn again. Dunn gives it to, was it Thompson? Ball comes back to Thorley. Thorley puts the chip kick through. Cleaned up after he kicked it. Eventually picked up for Crookwell by Jake Plum. 35 seconds remaining. So I'll keep an eye on it, but I'll tell you who's done the scoring for Crookwell today, as they will have the ball probably to finish the game up. Cummins with a try, Weir with a try, Dion Aramoana has a try and 1 conversion from 2 attempts. Isaac Walker with 1 conversion from 1 attempt. But after a half-time scoreline of 14 points to 10, with Plum with possession with the ball and 4 seconds remaining, half-time it was 14 points to 10. At full-time, it will be 24 points to 16 as the ball winds up, being kicked into touch by Matthew Page. And the North Canberra Bears, they pick up a title. They pick up the title of Premiers in the Bloomers Lawyers George Tooke Shield competition for 2019. So in the 3-way battle that there's been in this competition over the last couple of years between North Canberra, the Harden Hawks and the Crookwell Green Devils, it becomes the North Canberra Bears who've got 2 grand final titles, or 2 premierships I should say, in 4 years. And they pick up this one, 24 points to 16 here at Jamison. And they bring to a close the local rugby league season here in the nation's capital for 2019. And as you see the scenes of absolute joy out in the middle for the North Canberra side. I thank everyone who's been involved in our coverage right across the course of this year, from our Bar TV camera guys and production crew to the many and varied people who've been involved in the commentary over the course of the season, and to on behalf of everyone at the Canberra Region Rugby League, we draw our coverage and indeed our competitions for 2019 at a local level to a close. We thank you for watching during the course of season 2019. We'll be back with more rugby league on Bar TV, I would imagine, in season 2020. But until then, enjoy your summer. And signing off from Jamison Oval this afternoon, where the North Canberra Bears are the Bloomers Lawyers George Tooke Shield premiers for 2019. This is Chris Coleman saying thank you very much for your company and all the best for the remainder of 2019.
So you can use that as an effects mark, or I'll turn it down for a minute.
Come on, Nila, let's go.
Right. And I have to now go on the road. I've got to get to Gungahlin to go do the Rovers game. No rest for the wicked. See you later, Mr. Pagano.
Good luck today. Once again.
No worries.
Interesting game. We're kind of on the inside. Have fun. Hopefully, victory.
I'd like it if I'd really like it if the Raiders can get up today. I've been offered 2 tickets to the AFL Grand Final. And if the Raiders, I've worked it out, if the Raiders lose today, then they'll go on to the Saturday side of the draw. The winner of today's game should get the Friday night prelude. Should, and you can't guarantee that with the NRL, as you know. But because the winner of tomorrow's game will play the loser.
Congratulations, North Canberra Bears. Winners of the George Tooke Shield 2019.
Because the winner of
If you get both teams to come forward towards the dining table.
But then they had to swap it over. So, yeah, that'll mean the Raiders will have to really need to win today. Especially as the bloody Giants still live in the AFL. They're about 45 minutes in. I haven't looked at it. Oh, at least on the radio, I'm not in the car on the way over. Thanks for another year. All right. And mate, we've got a few other people in business now, so
Can get the Bears to come forward, please. Chris Lawley, can you bring your team forward, please? Okay, we'll commence with our presentations. We have a presentation of the Phil Byron medals to the match officials. To the referee, Garth Widdowson, come forward. There's 2 touch judges, Jack McCook and Aidan Richardson. Doing our presentations today, Gary Marmont, legend of the Canberra Region Rugby League, played for a long time with the Captain Flat Roos. Okay, as we move forward, player of the match today, number 8 from the losing side, from the Crookwell Green Devils, Dean Aramona. If I could call the captain. Firstly, I just want to also like to thank all the cricket players today. It's much appreciated. It's supporting us all year. Tomorrow, boys, we started the year, but we fought our way back, got ourselves in the kick and kicked on to the finals and got us to the race. So super proud of you and keep it on. Good stuff. I'd like to call the Bears captain out, Chris Thorley. First of all, I'd like to thank Crookwell, your fans as well, and the footy team obviously. He's a credit to your football club and in town as well, so thanks for your support. But yeah. Our boys, yeah, the Bears. And our fans, thanks for coming out every single week across the country. It makes playing in front of you guys all the better, so thank you very much. Thanks to the referees for every week coming out here and listening to us guys, Bagel and all that. We didn't have the game without you guys, so thank you very much. I think that's it, let's get this trophy up in the air. Okay, we get number 2 now, Trent Brown. Number 3, Jacob Bink. Number 4, Malcolm Timberly Thornton. Number 5, Matthew Page. Number 6, Daniel Holgate. Number 7, Peter Dunn. Number 8, Lachlan Holton. Number 9, Hamza Kozag. Number 10, Bradley Thompson. Number 11, Jake Sants. Number 12, Anthony Jones. Number 13, Dale Vickers. Number 14, Troy Reardon. Number 15, Joshua Sullivans. Number 16, Craig Pollock. Number 17, Kenny Brown. 18, Jared Dorrington. Number 19, Bradley Capello. Number 20, Tiana Sione. And Matthew Burnham. Coach, Brian Hogan. Manager, Gudrun Paricha. Okay, if Chris Lawler can come forward again to receive the George Tooke Shield. (2019) George Tooke Shield winners, North Canberra Bears. I'd like to thank Gary Marmot for doing presentations for the George Tooke Shield. To all the coaches, players, supporters that have attended today, we thank you on behalf of the Canberra Region Rugby League. Have a safe trip home, and we'll see you all again in the 2020 Symptom. To all the match officials that have participated today, all our helpers, all the grounds managers, league trainers, league safes, we thank you as well.
Tooke.